Hello and welcome back to the Commentary Shit Show. I've been in commentary for a long time now, but I don't think I've ever seen somebody's career self-destruct as hard as John Swan's. I don't know what it is with bird YouTubers, but they're really starting to get on my nerves. And that's why I only tolerate one bird on YouTube, and that bird is Scentbird. Scentbird is a fragrance subscription service, and just like how Netflix lets you watch hundreds of TV shows and movies, Scentbird allows you to receive colognes and perfumes from over 600 brands, carrying everything from indie labels like Vince Camuto and The Harmonist to top designer brands like Prada, Gucci, and Versace. And ladies and gentlemen, look at these cool and stylish samples they send you. You just twist, pull out the perfume or cologne, and notice it's a lot of product. This is a 30-day supply. This month, they sent me Mercedes-Benz Men, Tommy Bahama's Maritime, and easily my favorite, Tommy Bahama's Deep Blue. It's got that cool, crisp outdoor smell. It's sexy. Come on, you know I'm wearing this out with the lady. Whereas the Mercedes-Benz has more of a pear or cedar smell. If you're somebody that dresses up when you go to work or just meeting the family for a nice dinner, this one's definitely for you. They have these great brochures that come with the product showing you the different ingredients, the smells. If you find something you really like, Scentbird will remember your previous purchases. And if you're ever not sure what you're looking for, they have this unique quiz you could take that'll hook you up with the right stuff. And this stuff comes at a great price. I've seen the same perfume and cologne sell online for well over $100. Scentbird is only a $16 a month subscription. Instead of buying just one nice bottle of cologne or perfume, you could get a whole year's supply of Scentbird and it'll be those same great brands. Be sure to use code WillyMax with the link in the description to get 55% off your first month. That's luxury brands for both men and women for only $7. Never be bored of your scent again. Use Scentbird, save hundreds of dollars, get rid of those expensive half-used cologne and perfume bottles, and make sure the only bird you're groomed by is Scentbird. You will look good, feel good, and smell amazing. Thank you, Scentbird, for sponsoring this video. Now, where were we? Oh yeah, John Swan self-destructing.
I had a good take. I had a good take.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree?
You might know John Swan as the guy who lied to Dream and blamed it on his 12-year-old autistic cousin that doesn't exist. Probably the most insane part of that drama was him reaching out to Bo Blacks, a YouTuber who openly talks about his autism, to try and get him to validate John's fake story. John talked with me in depth explaining how the 12-year-old using his Discord was autistic and exploited my knowledge of autism to craft a false narrative. I hate that I was used for that. He was saying stuff like, that's what an autistic person would do, right? They know a lot about technology, but not social stuff. Let me remind you, this escalated to that level because John decided to troll a 15-year-old named Harley by pretending to be Dream. To be honest, I really don't care that John lied about Dream. If anything, it's an interesting lesson on how a small lie can spiral out of control. What I do care about is his continuous malicious behavior, specifically when involving minors. 1 year ago, I made a video criticizing John for his treatment towards Pieman, a 15-year-old YouTuber who struggled a bit with social issues.
Most, if not all my, close friends are people online.
John decided to call a 15-year-old a pedophile because he was flirting with a girl 3 years younger than him. He was blasting him on Twitter, writing, "How can you control that? Step 1, remove yourself from the internet to ensure that you won't fall guilty to the same urges again. Remember, you were being turned on by a literal child. Step 2 is get some kind of therapy or help because this can't go on, dude." Pieman was 15. They're both children. John then goes on Pieman's live stream to guilt the 15-year-old into thinking he did something criminal.
Well, I thought it wouldn't get leaked because I wanted it to not get leaked because I could tell out of context.
Yes, of course.
It looks
I
really
would want
bad.
that to get leaked either, Pieman, because that's really incriminating.
Can you imagine being a teenager and your cringy, flirty messages leak online only for your favorite YouTuber to pick it up and start going on a rampage about how you're a pedo? Now, I gave John multiple chances to fix this. First, I DM'd him, which he responded, "I stand by that 100%. I then made a Twitter thread giving him another chance to correct his mistake, where he proudly claimed him and Pieman worked it out, when in reality, his apology to Pieman wasn't that genuine. What'd he tell you?
Well, honestly, it wasn't really much of an apology. Because when he said, "Oh, can I post that we've worked things out on Twitter?" and I said, "Sure." I expected him to say something like, "Oh, me and Pieman talked and we sort of worked things out between us." But then he said, "Oh, I apologize to Pieman and we're all good now and stuff." And I thought, well, saying that you apologized isn't really a fair claim to make. He never apologized for most of the stuff. He just posted on Twitter that he did.
Now, I was really hard on John for all this, hopefully making it clear that this sort of thing was not okay. Well, John hasn't learned his lesson, because 1 year later, John would do the exact same thing. It's beautifully stupid. Let's meet the players. John Swan, a YouTube commentator who continues to get involved in 15-year-old's love life. Liz, the 15-year-old asking for advice on her relationship. Cammy, the 18-year-old who was in a relationship with Liz. And haha, yeah, another 15-year-old John put in charge of writing a grooming document against Cammy. On the 17th of April, Easter Sunday, a document was dropped by the account haha, yeah, featuring a grooming allegation between Cammy and Liz. It was titled A Message from Liz. And I remember just reading the first few paragraphs and getting some serious whiplash by how quickly the tone changes. I'll make this clear right now. He knows my age. He even asked for my birthday. Now remember, this is a 3-year age gap. I don't think most people would think that's predatory, but I'm glad he's checking the age. That's very responsible. He asked me if I turned 16 this year, and I said yes. I was really happy about me and him having birthdays in the same month. After I got happy, he called me cute, which made me flustered, because I told him I get flustered easily, which made him think that was cute. So the age difference is only 3 years down to the exact month. Cammy, the older one, is asking all the right questions to make sure this is appropriate, and Liz is happy. So what's the problem? Well, listen to the tone shift in this next paragraph. Cam used me for his own sexual pleasure when I was in a vulnerable state. He knew what he was doing was wrong, comparing his actions to those of people who have been canceled in the community. Oh dear God, yeah, because the YouTube community has an outstanding track record when it comes to this sort of stuff.
It's a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock life for us.
Now this does seem confusing. Luckily, Liz did upload screenshots of their conversations. And honestly, it just seems like normal high school relationship stuff, with Cammy even asking if she's comfortable with what's happening multiple times. Now I don't want to show too much because it's embarrassing for anyone, let alone 2 teenagers, to have this sort of thing leak. But the question is why? Why did Liz feel like she had to make a document? Why did she want to go after Cammy? Well, if you read the title of this video, you probably got a good idea. John Swan, after the documents released, was immediately posting pre-prepared memes about Cammy, one comparing him to Jeffrey Epstein. Aiden Projects, a 16-year-old, would also leak that John was hyping up news of the doc dropping in Discord, writing, "Fuck, everyone's asleep. I have the biggest bombshell ever in the history of bombshells." Aiden responded trying to get the intel, and John replied with, "I'm telling people directly involved. You are not directly involved. I've changed my mind, hence the private group chat." So hold on, let me get this straight. John is in a private group chat with a bunch of 15 and 16-year-olds planning to release a document about 2 teenagers sexting on Easter Sunday. That's fucking weird, man. May I remind you, this is the guy who told people to touch grass?
Hey, commentary community. I'm outside right now touching some grass. I think you guys could all take a little bit of advice from that. Remember, the internet isn't as serious as you may think it is. You may think a lot of the things hold more weight than they really do. Try and get outside. Touch some grass sometime.
Shut the fuck up. This document ended up catching the attention of Destiny, who after criticizing it, linked it back to John. And John Swan, being the serial liar that he is, would go on livestream to deny everything.
What's up, John Swan? How you doing, my dude?
My name was like brought up here like a few times. What's going on?
You know what? You gotta respect his commitment to the act. Oh, guys, I got no clue what's going on here. Why is my name even popping up?
Were you involved in the creation of a document against Cammy?
That's a yes. I was not directly involved in that.
Oh, God.
This is a bold-faced lie. And what better way to get the full story than to interview Liz herself?
My friends, I told them about Cam, and they're like, "This is bad. Why aren't you stopping it?" And I'm just like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah, so you kind of were like talked into it because people were telling you that it was like a red flag or whatever?
Yeah, basically.
So what made you go to John?
Well, I have a personal account where like I post about my mood and stuff, so I was kind of feeling down about it because, you know, people kept on telling me about it, and I was just like, is this true? I don't know. So like, A-Star hit me up in DMs and it's like asking me like what's going on, whatever. And so I tell him about it, and he's like, "Did you try telling John Swan or anybody like that?" And I was like, "No, should I?"
When you went to John, were you going to him for advice?
Yeah, at first, yeah, advice.
Here's the amazing advice that John Swan gave her. Okay, there are 2 ways you can go with this. One I believe is a lot better than the other, but they both have upsides and downsides to it. Liz says, alright. And John goes, option 1 is you stay completely anonymous and you have someone else write a Google Doc on your behalf. Option 2 is you release something yourself, maybe in conjunction with someone else's document or with your own. What kind of advice is that? How is that the only 2 options? Okay, kid, you've just been groomed. You got 2 options. Option Option 1, you write a document. Option 2, you write a document. I could think of a whole spectrum of options that doesn't involve writing a Google Doc and posting it to Twitter. The most obvious one being to tell her parents. There's no way Liz's parental guardians look at this situation and go, you know what? I think the best option here is to take this to Twitter. Bro, this guy said he wasn't involved in the creation of the document when he literally gave her the idea.
Were you involved in the creation of a document against Cammy?
That's a
I
yes.
wasn't. I was not directly involved in that.
Oh,
no.
God.
To make matters worse, John would later admit in a call with Cammy that he never even read all the messages before advising Liz to write the doc.
I read the document in a call with a few different people, and there was a few DMs in there that sort of like made like that sort of like broke the narrative apart that you guys are like trying to like paint. So she was comfortable with this like a few days ago, and then she goes and makes a document about it. Okay, I think that's. I think that's.
I don't remember this message you're talking about.
It was. I mean, I can try and find an archive. Of
I
the
may
document.
not have. I may not have. To be fair, I did not read all of them.
He would go on to tell someone else that he only read about 40% of the messages because he wasn't involved in the creation of the doc, so he had no reason to. So this girl comes to John for advice on a potential grooming situation. She sends him the evidence. He says he'll take a look at it. John comes back later and tells her, this is grim. He's taken advantage of you. And then he later admits to the guy the document was written on that he didn't look at all the evidence. That is so fucked.
I may not have. To be fair, I did not read all of them.
But it gets worse. You see, John was always a little bit worried that this whole thing could blow back on him, so he gave ownership of the document to his next best man.
I'm going to be honest about the involvement that I had in this was so extremely minimal. And the reason that it was so minimal is because I didn't want to fuck up something like this again. That's the reason I didn't want any involvement. I gave this to other people.
The other people John gave this to was a 15-year-old YouTuber named Haha Yeah.
I'm 15.
Did you write the doc, Haha Yeah?
I helped write the document.
John's like, I don't know. This situation, it's a bit too complicated for me. Let me hand it off to a 15-year-old.
I didn't go in and like change things in the middle. I didn't help them write it. Like anything that was significant, I did not have any involvement. Any edits I made were aesthetic purely.
John was pretty much caught at this point, so he had to backpedal his defense from I didn't help create the doc to I didn't write the doc. But as it turns out, he did play a role in writing it. He was just being such a sneaky little weasel, trying to hide it, asking people to remove his name from the doc, hoping no one would link it back to him. Unfortunately for John, Google Docs saves the names of everybody who makes edits, so we can see exactly what he wrote. And what do you know? It turns out John did write pretty important parts of the document, rewriting entire paragraphs to make Cammy sound like some sort of horrible predator. Here's Liz's original version of that legendary third paragraph. After this continued, he made jokes and started liking it after I asked him if he did. He continued on and tried asking me if it was okay multiple times. He's aware of my age, by the way, so he kept asking if it was weird or not, and I told him I didn't think it was that weird. I really didn't think much of it. As he continued, he said he was very hard. You could say he basically told me he was pleasured by what I was saying to him. Here's how John rewrote that. Cam used me for his own sexual pleasure when I was in a vulnerable state. Whoa. When did she ever say she was in a vulnerable state? And what about Cam asking if it was okay? We're just gonna leave that part out now? He knew what he was doing was wrong, comparing his actions to those of people who have been canceled in the community. He says how I made him happy. He called me cute. He said I was his darling. He made me feel appreciated and loved. But all he ever wanted was sexual pleasure. He used me to get what he wanted. I'm ashamed I ever took part in any of it. John changed Liz's statement to make it sound as predatory as possible, leaving out crucial details such as Cammy asking for consent, checking in on Liz to see if she thought it was weird. John also gave instructions on the doc in DMs. I feel like the doc is missing a conclusion, kind of like something holding him accountable. The conclusion of this document is some of the most embarrassing shit I've ever seen. Obviously, the content of these messages are incredibly upsetting and disturbing. At the very least, cringe. Hold on. One of those things is not like the others. It is not upsetting, it is not disturbing, but yes, two socially awkward teenagers trying to flirt is cringe. But what is more disturbing is that Cam demonstrated multiple times that he knew what he was doing was wrong. Again, Cammy asking multiple times if Liz is okay with it or if that she thinks it's weird at any point is a good thing. I don't know why that's being weaponized against him. But he did it all anyway, setting himself up to continue this pattern of behavior if not called out. What pattern of behavior? He's talking to a girl. You know, normal people have a word for for that? It's called dating. Liz met this person in a moment of personal weakness in the wake of a relationship that had ended, and Cam moved in to take advantage of Liz while ignoring everything that was so obviously wrong. This doc completely fails to explain what was so obviously wrong. It shows no examples of Liz asking him to stop, or that she's uncomfortable, or that she doesn't want to do it anymore. Even as this document is written, April 17th, 2022, Cam is talking flirtatiously with Liz and calling her cute. Oh shit, we better call the fucking police. There is no room for this kind of behavior from someone who wants to grow a platform in this community. This is the one part of the document I completely agree with. As commentary channels, we pride ourselves on being incel virgins, so even just talking to a woman should be enough to get you canceled. Let's bring it back to John Swan. This guy wasn't just involved in the creation of the document, he's the only reason it exists. John advised a 15-year-old girl to make a document and post it to Twitter without even fully reading the evidence she sent him.
I may not have, to be fair, I did not read all of them.
John Swan, who wasn't so sure he could handle this thing, then decides to put another 15-year-old in charge of writing the document for her.
I didn't want any involvement. I gave this to other people.
I'm 15. I helped write the document.
John then claimed he didn't write any of the doc. His changes were only aesthetic.
Like, I didn't write anything. I did not have any involvement. Any edits I made were aesthetic purely.
Even though the 2 paragraphs he played a role in writing are 2 of the most accusatory of Cammy. But what if I told you this somehow got worse? You see, leading up to the document's release, John seemed really excited to ruin this 18-year-old's life. He messaged big YouTubers like Dumpy telling him that Cammy's a groomer. He apparently hyped this up so much that John's friend and fellow 100k YouTuber Dr. Skipper tweeted, "Anyone want to reserve a seat for the shit show?" When the document dropped, Dr. Skipper wrote, "Happy Easter," adding Cammy. John Swan would tweet memes, one depicting Cammy turning into Jeffrey Epstein. Can you imagine these big YouTubers you're a fan of getting involved in your relationship life, tweeting about it, hyping up a document calling you a groomer? That's fucking traumatizing. I respect Dumpy a lot here, because when he saw it, he was just like, huh? But Dr. Skipper, man, what is this? You're tweeting, promoting this bullshit, sending Cammy McDonald's applications? He's being such a pussy too. Instead of apologizing, he tweets, "I'm just going to keep making videos and keep my head in the sand. I don't even know what's happening anymore." You knew exactly what was happening. You're only saying that because it started to blow back on John. You owe Cammy a public apology. This was messed up. John Swan, much like he did with Pie Man a year earlier, would post a series of apologies, when in reality, it's just a bunch of lies and excuses. John, now in a panic, decides to call Cammy, leading to Cammy posting, "I talked to John Swan. He and I talked things out and he apologized. I can confirm he's not the puppet master you all think he is, since he's shown me evidence which proves he had very little involvement in the doc. I'd appreciate if you all leave him be." It's not even like an hour later when Cammy updates us. "I deleted the tweet because I talked to people behind the scenes, and according to eyewitness accounts, I was lied to." Oh, shocker, whoa, John Swan lied? Cammy, you have to be shocked. Now, Cammy isn't stupid. Cammy did record John Swan's apology, and he leaked it. In the 1 hour and 25-minute call, John does say "I'm sorry," but he is always quick to shift the blame to Liz, making himself out to be the victim.
I feel really fucking terribly about it, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, short of just telling her to fuck off, I'm not sure what I would have done differently. Yeah, I don't know. I feel really fucking... I don't know how to describe this or put it into words. I feel like... I don't know why she just, like...
You feel lied to.
Very much so. I don't want to fucking victim blame, though. I don't want to be like...
Yeah, that's one thing that I don't want to do either.
It's really difficult, man. I don't want to come out and say it's all her fucking fault, because we do have some level of accountability on our shoulders, but fuck me, man. She really had it. Like, she had us on a fucking wild goose chase with this shit. Like, from the very fucking beginning.
John is just straight up lying to Cammy. At this point, we all know Liz didn't come to that decision on her own.
She did come to the decision on her own. So, yeah, this was when she wanted to go public.
John claims Liz came to this decision on her own, while the DMs he's currently showing is him clearly convincing her that she was groomed. "Thanks so much, Liz. I'll take a look at these later," referring to the messages between Liz and Cammy. "Hey, Liz, I read through pretty much every screenshot," which is weird because later in this same call, John tells Cammy that he didn't read all the messages.
I may not have I may not have, to be fair, I did not read all of them.
Again, he told somebody else that he only read about 40% of them. So I don't know, maybe he's lying again. I've read through pretty much every screenshot. Really grim stuff. Really? I thought so. I mean, dude, that's you telling her that she was groomed. How does he deny this? What's your goal with this then? I heard you want to go public? I want to, I just don't want to lose Cam. It's like I don't know why I'm so attached. I have major attachment issues and terrible mental health. The attachment with Cam is him taking advantage of you. I read the screenshots. He initiated everything first. Only John could write that and then later try to blame this whole thing on Liz. Cammy then suggests that John should post a public apology for how he handled things. And John just ignores him.
Dude, after the dream shit, everyone wants a reason to fucking ruin me. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter whether I was involved or not. They'll want any fucking reason and they'll run with it regardless of what it is. Like, I really did my best and I still fucked it up. So, I don't know. But yeah, people will just run with whatever. Like, it's just completely fucked.
Maybe, I mean, I don't know, maybe like apologizing to me publicly could be something you could do, but I don't really know how much that would like flip public. I don't really imagine like you care that much.
No, I do care. It's why it's why I called you. Obviously, I do care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I care very much because I basically started off this thing and I was lied to, essentially.
No, you weren't, dude. I don't know how John keeps saying that. It becomes psychopathic at a certain point. John then tells Cammy to post a tweet saying that John apologized and that they worked things out, even though all John did was blame Liz.
You don't have to do this. You can, I don't want to like fucking pressure you into doing that, but maybe would you be okay with like saying that we kind of spoke and talked things out?
Yeah, sure.
Real quick, I want to recap one last time just so John's involvement in all of this is perfectly clear. Liz entered a relationship with Cammy that had full consent from both sides. Liz told her friends about it, who convinced her that Cammy must be grooming her.
I've had people around me be like, hey, it's bad. And I'm like, are you sure it is? And they're like, yes.
A-Star then told Liz to go to John for advice. When she did, she provided John with all of the evidence, which John said he read, but would later tell Cammy he didn't. John then tells Liz that her messages with Cammy is really grim stuff, and that Cam was taking advantage of her. He tells Liz she has two options, both of which involve writing a document and posting it to Twitter. John messages other YouTubers telling them that Cammy's a groomer. He makes memes comparing Cammy to Epstein. When the document drops, people start reading the same evidence Liz provided John, and quickly realize that this is not grooming. In fact, there is nothing wrong with any part of the messages sent, yet the document frames Cammy as a predator who needs to be held accountable. John then quickly deletes his tweets, now claiming that he had nothing to do with the creation of the document.
Were you involved in the creation of a document against Cammy?
That's a
I
yes.
I was not directly involved in that.
Oh, God.
Even though he told Liz that was her only option, and then he put the other 15-year-old in charge to help write it.
I'm 15.
Once John was caught lying about this, he quickly changed his story to, okay, I was involved in creating the document, but I didn't write any of the document. The only changes I made were aesthetic.
Any edits I made were aesthetic purely. It was nothing meat and potatoes.
Okay.
That's what I mean when I say I didn't write a word of it. Because I really didn't. Like, I didn't write anything.
It's then discovered that John was rewriting entire paragraphs to make them sound way worse than initially stated, even giving specific instructions stating that the conclusion of the doc should hold Cammy accountable. John, now being caught at every lie, every corner, then decides to jump in a call with Cammy, and even though he does apologize, he mostly pushes the blame on Liz, saying she lied to him when she didn't.
I was lied to, essentially.
He then convinces Cammy to post a bullshit tweet saying John apologized when really all he did was shift the blame, saying John wasn't involved in the creation of the doc. See, John wasn't just involved in writing the doc, he is the doc. It's so screwed up. How do you not feel for Cammy? It's bad enough to have your messages leak online like that, but to then have some of your favorite YouTubers talk about it, tweet about it, create a document calling you a groomer. It's not just the lying that's the problem with John. He's proven to be downright malicious.
So bye, Miss American Pie.
Pie Man, yes, the 15-year-old John tried to pin as a pedophile 1 year ago. If you remember, John supposedly apologized to Pie Man, which Pie Man claims wasn't much of an apology at all. Well, as it turns out, John has held this against Pie Man and has been plotting his downfall for most of last year. Here's some of the leaked calls.
It doesn't matter to these people. They'll just keep on going.
Honestly, it's just cringe.
Anyway, if Pyman wants to continue saying that I never apologized to him, then I might need to do a nuclear moment, but I don't want to. I don't want to have to go nuclear, but if the opportunity requires it, I will.
It looks incredibly bad for him, incredibly good for me. There is almost no framing that looks bad for me. That call, it's pretty bad for Pine, and we can listen to it later, the full thing. But I feel like if we want to do this, there's only one way. You create a new Twitter account with a number that none of you have registered. So we get someone else to make a Google Voice number or something, and then we leak it through that, so it has no ties to literally anyone. And then we leave it for like ages, and then all of a sudden people start retweeting it out of nowhere, because you could just say you found it through like Twitter search or something, and that's probably the best way for you to do it. At least the way I've thought about it.
So John Swan, the known liar, is planning yet another lie to try and get back at Pie Man. As for the apology itself, I have no clue why he would want to leak something that makes him look so bad. Just like the call with Cammy, John does apologize, but instead of just owning up, he preaches at Pie Man.
There's one thing though, I still don't understand why you sent that message, and you don't have to tell me, and you don't have to say anything about that. I keep on running through scenarios in my head about that message, and I don't know why you sent that, but I don't know, man. I still that was still a fucking strange message, man, and I think a lot of us can say that was fucking strange. And then okay, so with the Twitter stuff, I did clarify. Okay, I will say this because the tweets are gone now, but I do remember writing a tweet that specifically said, like, clarified in clear, plain English, and it got maybe 20 likes or something, that you were not a pedophile. I don't know if you remember that at all, but I did say that.
No, I think I remember it.
Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes.
So that's one thing that didn't make it in your video, which I would have liked to see, but obviously you didn't have screenshots of it, so I understand.
I should have put it in there. I guess in my mind, I thought you were, sort of speaking out of both sides of your mouth, saying I'm not a pedo, and like I believed you were sort of insinuating it in other tweets.
Get fucking wrecked.
I heard from people that I know that you never really took a proper break from social media because you were still liking my tweets because I saw the notifications for them, and then you unliked them later. Okay? I caught you in 4K liking the tweets a number of times while you were supposed to be on break.
You really got him, John. Great job, dude. Here's the thing. It's not just Pie Man John's out to get. It's anyone who calls him out. He's messaging people. All these guys just have vendettas against me. Jaco hates me because he betrayed my trust. Aiden has a grudge against me because he leaked one of Augie's things one time. That doesn't even make any sense. It's like, bro, if you want people to stop calling you out, stop doing shady ass shit. How do I wrap up a video like this? I guess if I were to give John any advice, it would be the same thing I told him 1 year ago. How about you stop fucking with kids? Be a goddamn adult. Like, dude, what is some of this stuff I'm hearing? You just spend all day in Discord talking to 15-year-olds?
John definitely talked to like a disproportionate amount of kids. I'm not saying he's like a pedo, right? But I think at the beginning it was more like, I think it was like mainly 15-year-olds.
I can't think of a more sad and loser thing to do than watching porn in Discord to try and impress a bunch of teenagers.
He's gotta be huge. He's gotta be huge.
He's got no, yeah, he is. Has to, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh.
Excuse me, will the blowjob load so I can leave? Well,
It looks big. It looks massive.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
It's looking like 2 hands. Oh, it is a 2-hander.
Oh, it's fucking 8-9 inches, that. Oh, fuck. It's massive.
It's a large lad.
That's not even fully erect.
On that note, I want to thank Aiden Projects and Jaco for busting this story wide open. Bonk for archiving all the calls. I couldn't have done this without him. Anonymity, he really is this channel's secret weapon. And it turns out he makes great videos too. And of course, Mike the Bike for some of the parody music used here today. Alright, John Swan, Patreon, Phoebes, Crimson Glass, Riveter, Dletchke Goth Boy, Jack Mac, Christina Vina, Detective Pika, Mac Monkey, Drain Kobex, Bo Black, Necro Valley, Evan, and the mega homies, Reynold Hughes, Marissa Lynn, IGP, Hellison, Bull Boy Ajax, Yuri Kinda Pog, Jason Johnson, Your Taxi, Spartan McCowell, Free Spirit Katie, Lore Reloaded, Code 9, Papa Gut, and Run Ben. These are the people that allow me to make the kind of content I want to make without having to worry about YouTube's monetization system. Hey guys, I just finished editing. It's not too often I finish a video and I'm still stunned by the incompetence you have to be to get in this situation. So you know what? John Swan wins. I'm done. I'm giving up.
It's feeding time and the Cobalt Cobra is very hungry. The dish? Cooked swan to be served to the awaiting Leviathan. Dinner is ready. Fuck Swan, I prefer Goose. This greasy John just sits on Twitter with a new Google Doc every minute. Oh, it's the same lie posted every time, it's just slightly different. Yes, how original. Subs up in the six figures and this Muppet still says other sections for his videos. Isn't it kinda sad that you had to crack cause you lack talent and apparently can't be fucked to ask? You just got shreked by an aristocrat. A 99-year-old man. What a joke. Still don't even know why you couldn't take a roast. That was fucking delicious. Eggs on toast. Bitch! Fucking